After the CDC announced new guidelines for mask use, we're realizing there's a lot of confusion about this topic. So tonight we're taking an in-depth look at current mask guidance, vaccination rates, and how these rules could impact your work, going to the grocery store, and just normal everyday activities. But first, let's go ahead and recap what the state leadership says about lifting the mask mandate. So today, California health officials say the state will start following CDC mask guidance on June 15th. That's when vaccinated people will be allowed to go outside without masks in most situations. Governor Newsom previously said June 15th is when California will totally reopen. And then the state's Health and Human Services Agency made that decision in part to give local governments more time to prepare for the change. And that's a change that, according to CDC Director ROCHELLE WALENSKY, said follows science but still needs caution.
I think that people who were not inclined to wear a mask were not inclined to wear a mask before Thursday. In terms of the honor system, people have to be honest with themselves. You're protected if you're vaccinated. You're not if you're not vaccinated.
There are some exceptions to the mask guidance from the CDC. Businesses can still require customers to wear a mask, and these rules don't apply to medical settings. That means if you're in a doctor's office or a hospital, you'll still need to likely wear a mask. And when it comes to the CDC that announced their guidance that fully vaccinated individuals can say goodbye to masks in some circumstances, some may have breathed a sigh of relief, while others, like the California Nurses Association, they did not. 23 ABC's Kristen Vartan joins us live from Public Health after speaking to the co-president and the CNA about their stance. Good evening, Kristen.
Yes, Alex, when it comes to this, the CNA president, co-president actually, Sandy Redding, says it comes down to the science. When there's an airborne virus, she says the best thing you can do is put on a mask to control the airflow.
We have all longed for this moment when we can get back to some sense of normalcy. That moment has come for those who are fully vaccinated.
Sandy Redding, co-president of the California Nurses Association National Nurses Organizing Committee, has been on the medical front lines in Bakersfield for over 30 years. She says the most recent fight against COVID-19 is not over yet, and the CNA disagrees with the CDC.
As nurses, we're scientists, and we've lived through the pandemic, and science tells us that masks are effective, vaccines are effective, but there are a lot of unknowns out there.
One of those unknowns is the new variants, which cases are on the rise. As of Monday, Kern County Public Health has confirmed 20 cases of the UK variant and 2 South Africa variants so far in Kern County.
Being more virulent and faster to spread. And we're seeing younger populations come into the hospital to be hospitalized. It's very concerning to us. So we are very disappointed with this recommendation. And it's also confusing the public.
Right now in the state, Michelle Corson with Kern County Public Health says fully vaccinated individuals don't have to wear masks outdoors if they are not in crowded settings. They can also gather indoors with other fully vaccinated individuals or with a single household of unvaccinated individuals in their homes if those individuals are not at high risk for the disease.
So California had already begun to lighten the masking mandate a bit for those that were vaccinated.
Corson adding that 1 in 4 people in Kern County are fully vaccinated. But Redding says being fully vaccinated once may not be enough.
We've already heard from Pfizer, I believe, saying that we will be needing a booster vaccine because we need to see how effective we know how effective the vaccines are. They're very effective, but we want to see how long the immunity is for.
Now, Redding says she also does not agree with the CDC's guidance not to test individuals who have been fully vaccinated, just because she says contact tracing is the best way to really see what's going on out there, Alex.
Kristen, was there anything else that the CNA co-president mentioned to you about the state of hospitals right now?
Yeah, there actually was one thing, and I didn't even know this, but apparently still with mask wearing, even after over a year of this virus being here, nurses are actually reusing their masks in the hospitals. So she's actually calling for Cal OSHA to issue an emergency temporary standard to make sure they have enough PPE in the hospitals, and so that they can use 1 mask PPE per patient. Live in Public Health, Kristen Barton, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
All right. Thank you, Kristen, for that update. And before we get to how the guidance is impacting businesses, let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers from around the state. Now, Sunday marked 995 new infections in California, which has seen more than 3.6 million since the start of the pandemic. And right now, California's 7-day positivity rate is 0.9% more than the 0.9%, and more than 35 million vaccine doses have been given already. So how does Kern County compare to all this? Well, there were just 22 new cases reported today by Public Health. And Public Health also says that Kern's positivity rate is 1.7% back on May 11th. And so far, more than 500,000 doses of the vaccine have already rolled out here. And our coverage of mask mandates continues at the 23 ABC Live Center now. And we asked our viewers whether or not that they think stores like Target, Costco, and Trader Joe's should drop mask requirements in their stores. And we got hundreds of comments, and so we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of them right now. So one viewer writing into us saying her name is Christina, and she says, absolutely, let people make their own decisions. And then we have another viewer here, Brandy. She said, if the mandate is dropped, those too worried to realize that they can still choose to wear their masks, right? And then we also have Miranda. She wrote in and said, no, especially in our town that is barely vaccinated. It's the same story throughout the whole pandemic. Some people don't want to wear masks. Some don't want to social distance, don't want to get vaccinated, and they want to live in some fantasy land like COVID isn't real. That's weird. End quote. Now, of course, we want to hear from you, so make sure you visit our Facebook page to leave a comment, and we could share it on air. And the CDC also says people still need to wear a mask if they are unvaccinated. And that includes people younger than 12 years old. So what's the impact it's having on schools? Well, according to the CDC, schools should enforce masking and social distancing measures until this school year ends to allow more students to get the chance to be vaccinated. As for colleges go, many universities are enacting a vaccination requirement to help reopen, and the CSU system and UC schools will all require students to get vaccinated before returning to campus. And the fight over kids wearing masks to school hit home for a group of local moms and teachers today. They actually gathered in downtown to protest the mask mandate. One mother at the event says her kids have rights too.
And we believe that the schools are safe, that they should be able to go to school without this restriction, and it's their right to do so.
Beth Knapziger says that masks are a distraction and that most kids likely learn better without them on. The Kern County Superintendent of Schools says all schools in Kern follow mask regulations from Public Health Department.